close your eyes. You stand before the sublime port, the majestic gateway to one of history's grandest and most opulent empires, the Ottoman Empire. The scent of roses, spices, and power hangs in the air. But do not let that grandeur deceive you. For hidden within those gilded walls and silken drapes lie chilling tales that history often overlooks, where mere survival is far from guaranteed. Could you truly last a single day here? Welcome to the darker side of a magnificent empire. Today, we will delve into the hidden corners where human fate is but a pawn in the ultimate game of power. We will explore why you couldn't survive a day as a male concubine in the Ottoman Empire. And that's not all. We will unveil other horrifying secrets of the court, true stories gripping enough to send shivers down your spine. You awaken on an exquisitely embroidered silk mattress. In a room that seems outwardly splendid, yet lacks the most precious commodity, freedom. You are a concubiness, a male servant. Perhaps you are just 16 years old, an age when, in the outside world, you would be free to explore, learn, and build a life of your own. But here every semblance of self-determination has been stripped away. You might be a slave, captured in a distant conquest, or sold by an impoverished family when you were very young. Memories of your homeland, of your mother's laughter, of the familiar scent of the earth, are now just fragmented remnants, buried beneath layers of harsh training. Or perhaps you were chosen for your extraordinary beauty, your mesmerizing voice, or some special talent spotted by the keen eyes of imperial officials. Regardless, you had no choice. Your life no longer belongs to you, your status in Ottoman society is incredibly low. Even though you reside within a palace more magnificent than anyone in the outside world could ever imagine, you possess no legal rights, no recognition as a free person, you own no property, have no right to inheritance, and certainly no recognized social standing. You are part of your master's property, a living ornament, a tool for service. This room, no matter how luxurious, is your prison. Every entrance and exit is guarded by soldiers or eunuchs, their cold, emotionless gazes seemingly piercing through your very soul. You cannot contact the outside world, cannot send letters home, cannot visit your family or friends. Every tie to your past has been severed. Your life is one of absolute subservience, a shadow in the glow of another's brilliance, a beautiful flower plucked from its roots, living in a crystal vase. The sense of confinement stems not only from physical walls, but also from the meticulous control over every detail of your life. From how you wake up, how you eat, how you walk, to even how you breathe. Everything must adhere to the harem's strict rules. Privacy is a luxury. You cannot harbor your own thoughts, nor express personal emotions. Everything you do, every word you utter, is presumed to be in service to your master. Gradually, you feel yourself no longer an independent individual, but merely an extension of someone else's will. This is more terrifying than any physical chain, for it suffocates your very soul. What is your primary role? Simply to please your master, perhaps the great sultan, ruler of the entire Ottoman realm, or a powerful prince residing within the harem. You have been meticulously trained since childhood to be the perfect servant. It was a brutal process, stripping away any individual personality to forge an exquisite instrument. From brewing tea according to precise rituals, to reading aloud, with the most captivating intonation, to fulfilling your master's most personal and private requests, everything must be flawless. Your body is no longer your own. It's a tool, a precious asset. You are meticulously cared for, provided with the finest clothes, the most delicious food, but all solely to maintain your utility value. You may wear the softest silk robes, be anointed with the most fragrant oils, and adorned with the most exquisite jewelry. But beneath this grandeur lies a cruel truth. You are not a lover, not a friend, nor a family member. You are a valuable item, a luxury commodity, disposable at any moment. A look of disdain, a minor misstep, and your fate could change in an instant. You could be expelled from the harem without mercy, sold to a less lenient master, or worse, dealt with silently to ensure you never cause trouble again, a quiet death known to no one. The impermanence of fate is a terrible psychological burden. You might be your master's favorite today, showered with expensive gifts and sweet words, but tomorrow, when a new face appears, or when your master's mood shifts, you could be utterly abandoned. The feeling of being an expired item will gnaw at your soul. There are no guarantees for the future, nothing to hold on to except sheer luck and your ability to please. The essence of this service is not give and take, but the sacrifice of your very self for a precarious existence. Within the harem, competition is a sharp blade hidden beneath soft silks. It's not merely a fierce struggle among concubines for the sultan's heart or among eunuchs to consolidate power. It's also a silent, relentless war among male servants like yourself. Everyone seeks the favor of the sultan or other influential figures within the harem. Every glance, every smile, every word can be a weapon. A word of praise from your master could elevate you, granting temporary privileges like finer garments, more delicious food, or access to important information. But a cold look, a subtle frown from your master could plunge you into an abyss. You must constantly be vigilant, for a lie from a rival, a fabricated rumor, or even an unintentional misunderstanding could destroy your life overnight. You are easily drawn into complex court intrigues, games of power whose rules you don't even know. You could become a pawn in the power struggles between factions. Between concubines vying to enthrone their sons, or between eunuchs seeking to increase their influence. An anonymous letter, a poisoned gift, or a minor slander could turn you into a scapegoat. You have no voice, no right to defend yourself. Your fate lies in the hands of others, those who constantly seek to eliminate rivals. The Sultan's favor is the most fragile, most precious, yet most fleeting commodity. It can arrive as swiftly as a gentle breeze, bringing hope and hollow promises. But it can also vanish faster than the blink of an eye, leaving you in coldness and despair. Those who were once showered with absolute favor, once the center of all attention, might wake one morning to find themselves dragged away, without explanation, without farewell. They disappear from the harem as if they never existed, leaving behind a chilling void and serving as a stark warning to those who remain. This constant insecurity erodes the soul, making it impossible to trust anyone, even those who seem like friends. This relentless life, where every gesture is scrutinized, where existence depends on the approval of others, leaves scars not only on the body, but also on the soul. The risk of violence is ever present. It could be brutal beatings from eunuchs, for the slightest error, or from jealous rivals aiming to bring you down. Even the master, in a fit of rage, could unleash their fury upon you. Physical wounds may heal, but the fear of being beaten, of being tortured, will forever haunt you. But even more terrifying is the psychological toll. The profound loneliness. Amidst a crowd, despite living in a bustling palace, you are completely isolated emotionally. There is no one to share your fears with, no one to confide your deepest thoughts to. You must wear a mask of subservience and a polite smile, concealing all true emotions. The loss of self, of identity, when treated as an object, a toy, will gradually consume your soul. You slowly lose your individuality, your dreams, your hope for a free life. You become merely a shadow of your former self, a shadow imprisoned in a gilded cage, rotting from within. Living in constant fear, never knowing what tomorrow holds, never knowing when you might be abandoned, punished, or worse. You could succumb to depression, anxiety, or even madness. The harem, no matter how magnificent, is a soul-crushing machine, transforming vibrant young individuals into empty shells. You see, despite being adorned with silk and ultimate luxury, the life of a male servant in the Ottoman harem is a tragedy of confinement and insidious exploitation. It is not a single day you could survive, but an entire life stripped away, stripped of self-determination, stripped of dignity, stripped of even your soul. This story is not just about those who lost their personal freedom in a bygone era. It is a powerful reminder of the eternal value of human dignity. It compels us to ponder deeply, is ultimate luxury, boundless power, truly worth sacrificing one's entire humanity, one's right to be oneself, one's freedom to choose one's own destiny? This is a timeless lesson, a profound emotional touchpoint for each of us, highlighting the importance of freedom and the respect that every human being, regardless of origin or status, deserves. It serves as a mirror reflecting for us to cherish what we have in modern life. Beyond the harem walls, the Ottoman Empire held even darker secrets. Starting with the very heart of its power structure, the imperial succession. You might mistakenly believe a prince's life in the Grand Ottoman Empire was a paradise, a tapestry, woven with threads of luxury, power, and limitless potential. Far from it. Even those born with the most sacred royal blood were not immune to a brutality so profound it etched itself into the very foundations of the dynasty. This began in earnest with Sultan Mehmed II, the Conqueror, a ruler both brilliant, strategist, and utterly ruthless pragmatist, who, in the mid-15th century, formalized an infamous policy that would forever stain the royal lineage: the law of fratricide. His chilling, yet in his view, necessary decree stated with terrifying clarity: any of my sons who ascends the throne, it is proper for him to kill his brothers to ensure the peace of the world. The aim was stark and undeniably effective. To prevent the devastating civil wars and endless succession disputes that had plagued past Islamic dynasties, often tearing empires apart from within. But the price paid for this imperial stability was horrifically personal, staining the hands of every new sultan with the blood of his kin. Imagine this scene unfolding in the heart of the Topkapi Palace. The air, usually thick with the murmur of courtiers, the rustle of priceless silks, and the faint scent of exotic perfumes, is instead charged with an oppressive, suffocating silence. The news has spread like wildfire through the marble corridors. Your father, the mighty sultan, has just breathed his last. A new dawn breaks, but it carries with it the cold shadow of impending doom for many. Your elder brother, now the undisputed sultan, stands upon the golden throne in the imperial council hall. His face perhaps grim with the weight of his new duty, perhaps stoic, but undeniably a countenance now burdened by an unspeakable, ancient obligation, and by that very law, etched in blood and imperial necessity. He has the solemn, yet horrifying, right and obligation to execute all his brothers, the very ones who shared his childhood, who chased each other through the palace gardens, who learned the Quran side by side, who practiced swordsmanship in the same training yards. It was a fateful morning that dawned for countless unlucky young princes. The executioners were not anonymous figures in masks, cloaked in mystery. They were often trusted members of the Sultan's personal guard, men whose faces were known to the doomed princes, making the act even more intimately terrifying: a betrayal by familiar hands. There would be no trial, no pleas for mercy, no last rites beyond a quick prayer from a sympathetic imam, just a subtle nod, a silent command from the new sultan, a gesture pregnant with the power of life and death, and the fate of dozens of princes was sealed. From babes still in their cradles, innocent and unknowing, to strapping young men on the cusp of adulthood, brimming with life and potential, their lives were abruptly extinguished. The most chilling example stands as a grim monument to this policy: Sultan Mehmed III. Upon his ascension in 1595, set a truly horrifying record. He ordered the execution of 19 of his brothers, some mere infants, and even numerous pregnant concubines, to prevent future claimants, all in a single bloody day. One can only imagine the muffled screams attempting to escape from the sealed chambers, the frantic, desperate pleas of mothers clutching their children, their voices quickly swallowed by the thick palace walls, the cries of terror echoing only in the minds of those who carried out the grim task, the cold, metallic scent of fresh blood, starkly contrasting with the usual rosewater and incense, would have pervaded the usually perfumed palace air, leaving an indelible stain on the very foundations of the House of Osman. The bodies, once vibrant, were then solemnly carried out for burial. Silent procession of extinguished hopes, a stark lesson to any who might dare to challenge the new order. This ritual, though abhorrent, ensured a unique, albeit terrifying, form of dynastic stability for centuries, but at the cost of unimaginable human suffering. and the constant fear woven into the very fabric of royal life. And if you were one of the truly fortunate few, blessed by a twist of fate or a momentary whim of the new sultan, to be spared from the executioner's silent silk bowstring, your destiny was instead a different kind of living death, confinement within the caves. The cage. This was no squalid, dark dungeon, filled with rats and damp earth. Far from it. It was a luxurious yet utterly isolated apartment complex, self-contained prison of gold and marble, nestled deep within the inner palace grounds, a permanent gilded cage. Here you were still recognized as a prince, still provided with sumptuous food, the finest garments, and every material comfort imaginable. Your rooms might boast exquisite Ottoman tiles, lush carpets, and magnificent views of the palace gardens, a beauty that only served to mock your captivity. But you were completely cut off from the world, a phantom living in perpetual twilight, denied agency and purpose. You were not taught statecraft, forbidden from engaging in politics or even discussing matters of the state. Your education, if any, was limited to superficial arts and religious studies, designed to keep your mind occupied but never truly engaged with the world of power. You were not allowed to meet outsiders, forbidden from forming any connections that might foster loyalty or rebellion. You were served only by mute and deaf servants, carefully chosen to prevent any whisper of information, any plea for freedom, any hint of conspiracy from ever leaking out, nor could any outside influence ever reach your ears. The official purpose was pragmatic, to keep you safe from assassins, and crucially, to prevent you from becoming a rival claimant or a rallying point for a rebellion against the reigning sultan. In essence, it ensured you could never pose a threat to the stability of the throne. The devastating consequence of this, prolonged sensory and social deprivation, was soul-crushing. Many princes, confined for years, even decades, slowly succumbed to madness, their minds, starved of stimulation and purpose, withered. Some sought oblivion in alcohol or opium, their days blurring into a hazy, self-destructive stupor. Others simply faded into profound depression, their once bright minds dimmed by the endless monotony and despair. Consider the profoundly tragic figure of Sultan Mustafa I, a vivid illustration of the caliph's psychological toll. He was confined for a staggering 14 years from 1603 to 1617, and again from 1618 to 1622, when he was finally released from his solitary, gilded prison to ascend the throne due to a dire lack of other eligible heirs. He clearly displayed profound signs of madness. Historical accounts describe him reportedly throwing gold coins to palace birds, conversing with imaginary figures, and exhibiting behavior utterly unfit for a ruler, unable to grasp the realities of governing. Life in the caves was not a quick, merciful death, but a prolonged psychological torment, a slow, agonizing erosion of the mind that transformed royal heirs, men born to lead, into pitiful, hollowed-out shadows. It stands as a chilling testament to the profound solitude and dehumanizing nature of absolute power, a stark reminder that even the highest birth could not escape the crushing weight of imperial necessity. This story is not just about tragic princes, it is a chilling reminder of the terrible cost of absolute power, where even familial bonds of blood and love must yield to the stark, brutal necessity of the throne's survival. It shows how tyranny, even if ostensibly for the sake of stability and preventing greater bloodshed, can turn a human into a monster, transform a grand home into a suffocating prison, and reduce potential leaders into broken, pitiable shadows. Beyond these palace walls, and often inextricably linked to the Sultan's very survival, another formidable power-shaped Ottoman destiny, a force born of both brilliant strategic foresight and profound human brutality, the janissaries. They were the empire's most elite, most disciplined, and most feared infantry. The cutting edge of Ottoman military might, instrumental in helping successive sultans conquer vast swaths of the known world, from the Balkans and Hungary deep into the Middle East and North Africa, yet few understood, or perhaps dared to acknowledge, that the true origins of this seemingly invincible force were incredibly brutal and inhumane. Forged from a unique system known as Dev Sherm. Imagine you are an 8-year-old Christian boy, living a simple, innocent life, playing in your peaceful village, nestled in the European provinces of the vast Ottoman Empire. The sunlight warms your face as you chase a makeshift ball made of rags, or help your family herd goats across green pastures. Life is hard but familiar. Suddenly, the tranquility is shattered by the distant rumble of hooves, growing louder, more ominous. The sight of Ottoman soldiers on horseback, their banners snapping in the wind, sends a ripple of fear through the village. They come not to conquer your village with fire and sword today, but to collect the child levy, the Dev Sherm. This was a systematic, often annual conscription of Christian boys from conquered lands, a blood tax levied on non-Muslim populations to provide human resources for the Sultan's standing army and administration. You are torn from your family, from everything you know and love, often amidst the heartbreaking wails of your mother, the desperate, futile pleas of your father, and the terrified cries of your siblings. The scene is one of wrenching separation, etched forever in the memories of those left behind. You are then forcibly taken, often marched hundreds of miles, converted to Islam, given a new Turkish name, and brought to a completely foreign world, usually to Anatolia or directly to specialized training centers. Here, you are put through an exceptionally harsh and often cruel training regimen. This was not merely military training. It was a profound process of complete cultural assimilation, dehumanization, and re-education. You were rigorously taught Turkish, instructed in Islamic ways and theology, and, most crucially, instilled with an unshakable, fanatical loyalty solely to the Sultan himself, who was considered your father and benefactor. Every emotion, memory of your past, your original family, your Christian faith, your former life, all had to be systematically eradicated, replaced by an unwavering devotion to the Ottoman state and its ruler. You were forbidden from marrying or having families of your own while serving. Designed to ensure your undivided loyalty lay solely with the Sultan, not with personal ties. You were deliberately detached from all worldly ties to become a perfect warrior, a single-minded instrument of the Sultan's will. You were, in essence, a meticulously crafted war machine, devoid of personal ambition beyond serving the imperial master. A living weapon in the Sultan's arsenal initially for centuries. The janissaries were indeed an invincible army, a disciplined, fearless shock troop that struck terror into the hearts of Europe's armies. They were highly paid, granted immense privileges, including exemption from taxes, and lived a life of strict discipline within their well-maintained barracks, but also considerable comfort. They were truly the sons of the Sultan, his personal elite guard, a fearsome fighting force unmatched for centuries on any battlefield. Their distinctive white felt caps, known as birks, became an iconic symbol of their unique, powerful status. However, absolute power over time inevitably led to corruption, arrogance, and a growing sense of entitlement. As the empire expanded and their influence grew, the janissaries began to accumulate immense wealth, and crucially, to meddle overtly in the intricate politics of the imperial court. They leveraged their military might to gain unprecedented concessions. They eventually gained the right to marry, to engage in trade and craft, and, most damagingly, to pass down their status as janissaries to their sons, effectively transforming from a disciplined slave army into a hereditary military caste. This process corroded their original purity, discipline, and absolute loyalty. They started acting as kingmakers, arrogantly dictating policy, overthrowing and enthroning sultans at their whim, becoming the ultimate internal threat to the imperial family itself. Their increasingly frequent and exceptionally violent revolts, often accompanied by looting and destruction in the capital, became the bane of the Ottoman court. They brutally assassinated many grand viziers, the Sultan's chief ministers, and even succeeded in deposing and murdering several sultans who dared to cross them. The very cry that once inspired fear in Ottoman enemies, Hadi, Hadi, Forward. Forward. The legendary call to advance in battle now chillingly heralded chaos and violence within the heart of Istanbul itself, signaled that the janissaries were on the rampage. The janissary corps, once the empire's greatest strength and pride, had by the late 18th and early 19th centuries become its greatest liability, a parasitic tumor threatening to consume the very body it was meant to defend. No sultan could truly control these increasingly unruly and corrupt janissaries, who held the empire hostage through their military might, till the determined, brilliant, and utterly ruthless Mahmud II ascended to the throne in the early 19th century. He was a visionary who understood that, to save the crumbling empire from its internal decay and external pressures, he had to completely dismantle the very army that had once been its pride. Patiently, meticulously, and in utter secrecy, he began to build a new modern army, trained in European style, equipped with modern weapons, and most importantly loyal only to him. Then, in 1826, Mahmud II unleashed his decisive, bloody purge, an event euphemistically known as the Auspicious Incident, Vokai Herai, when the janissaries, sensing their power slipping and their privileges threatened by the new reforms, launched their final, desperate revolt. Mahmud II was ready. He ordered his newly trained forces, along with loyal citizens tired of janissary excesses, to surround their barracks in Istanbul. What followed was a brutal, one-sided massacre. He mercilessly bombarded their headquarters with cannon fire, turning their fortified compounds into burning infernos. The roar of cannons echoed across the city, drowning out the frantic screams of thousands trapped inside the blazing barracks. Smoke billowed from the burning buildings, painting the Istanbul sky with the grim reality of the Sultan's unyielding ruthlessness. Those who managed to escape the inferno were hunted down and summarily killed in the streets, often by an enraged populace themselves, who had long suffered under janissary tyranny. All remnants of the janissary order, their barracks, their symbols, their very name, were systematically erased from Istanbul. Centuries of janissary power, their unique institution, ended in a single, brutal, yet in the eyes of many, necessary day. It was a seemingly monstrous act, calculated act of state-sponsored violence on a massive scale, but one widely regarded as absolutely essential to save the empire from internal collapse and usher it, albeit painfully, into a new modernizing era. A white felt janissary cap, once a proud symbol of elite status and loyalty, now lay as a blood-soaked remnant amidst the ruins. A stark, silent reminder of the terrible fate that awaits a force that turns against its creator, a cautionary tale of unchecked power's ultimate demise. The story of the janissaries is a powerful, enduring warning about the nature of power, its intoxicating allure, and its almost inevitable corruption. A tool, even one created with the best intentions to protect and serve, can become a brutal tyrant, and to maintain order and ensure survival. History sometimes has to pay the ultimate price in blood and widespread destruction. It shows that even the most solid and formidable institutions, built on strict discipline and unwavering loyalty, can eventually crumble and be consumed due to internal degeneration, unchecked ambition, and the insidious rot of absolute power. See, life in the Ottoman Empire was not merely about magnificent palaces and glorious conquests. It was also a chilling, complex tapestry woven with threads of deep cruelty and profound human suffering. It was a tale of male servants stripped of their freedom, reduced to mere possessions, their souls slowly devoured by gilded cages.
Ow!
Princes born to rule, tragically imprisoned in luxurious isolation, their minds slowly unraveling into madness. And of elite warriors once the empire's backbone, transformed into ruthless kingmakers, only to be annihilated by the very power they protected when they became too great a threat. Each day, for countless individuals within this grand yet unforgiving empire, was a struggle for survival, where human fate was easily determined by the arbitrary will of the rulers and the brutal, inescapable spiral of unchecked power. These stories are not just distant history, relegated to dusty tomes and forgotten archives. They are profound, visceral reminders of the terrible, dehumanizing cost of absolute power. the inherent fragility of human life when autonomy is denied, and the fundamental, unassailable importance of human dignity. They show us that even in the greatest and most dazzling civilizations, built on immense wealth and military might, there are dark corners and chilling truths that we must confront, lest we forget the profound, often tragic lessons of the past. Do you truly believe, now knowing these depths of existence, you could have survived a single day in such a place? If you found these stories compelling, if they resonated with the deeper truths of human existence and the perils of unchecked power, don't forget to like, share this video, subscribe to the channel to explore more hidden dark corners of history that we will continue to uncover.